Okay, today we are looking at coordinate planes. We are taking a little bit of a break from statistics for now. We are going to come back to it, but whenever we get to that point, that stuff that we're going to close out with is a little more heavy in the detail part. So we're going to go ahead and shift over to coordinate planes for the time being. And then once we get over that stuff and get through some other things that you guys are going to need moving into next year, we're going to go back and finish up statistics, and that is going to be box and whisker plots, interquartile range, mean absolute deviation, things like that. And I know those are big words. It's not that difficult. It's just a lot of detail and a lot of work, but you guys will be able to do it. And when we get to that point, you'll do awesome. But let's go ahead and look at coordinate planes. We got some definitions to go over. We have some examples to go over. And this might be a little bit longer set of videos because there's a lot of information here to get started. But once we get started, it's going to roll and roll easy. So let's move over the notes and we'll go from there. Coordinate planes. Now, coordinate planes, most of you guys know as the battleship grids. But the points on those planes, those are called ordered pairs. So a set of two numbers indicating where a point is on a coordinate plane is an ordered pair. The x is how far the left or right we go on the x-axis. The y is how far up or down we go on the y-axis. And when you look at an ordered pair, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have parentheses, a number, comma, number, close parentheses. The first number is your x. That's going to tell you if you go left or right and how far you go. Our y is our second number, and it's going to tell you how far up or down we go. Now, a quadrant is the zone of a coordinate plane based on location. Now, that is a very vague definition, so I like to use examples and a little bit of a cheat sheet to kind of show you how that stuff works. So quadrant 1, and then on our example here or here, you'll see quadrant 1 is right here. That's where most of you guys, if you're familiar with coordinate planes, probably have seen most of your points. Your x and your y in the ordered pair are both going to be positive numbers, positive and positive. So the x and y are both positive, and they're in this top right quarter of the coordinate plane. Quadrant 2. That's where, and we're going counterclockwise on these guys. Please try to remember that, counterclockwise. We're going in a circle moving toward the left. So quadrant 2, our x is negative. We have moved to the left on the x-axis, but the y is still positive. We are still in the positive section, so this is where quadrant 2 is. Quadrant 3. Both are negative. The x and y are both negative. Down here at the bottom left, our x is negative, so we go to the left. Our y is negative, so we go down. And boom, we are in quadrant 3. Quadrant 4, we move to the right on the x-axis. It's positive. We move down on the y-axis because it's negative. So positive to the right, negative to the bottom. We are in quadrant 4. Now let's look at these point examples down here. Point A is located at -3, 1. So that negative tells us it's either going to be in quadrant 2 or quadrant 3. Now that y tells us that since it's positive, it's going to exist in quadrant 2. Point B, -1, -3. So we went to the left 1, -1, went down 3, -3. Point B is going to be in quadrant 3. Both are negative, and then your visual down here shows negative. You are in quadrant 3. Point C, over 2, up 4. That puts us, both numbers positive, in quadrant 1. Something you guys are probably most familiar with, quadrant 1. And then quadrant 4. We're still moving to the right on our x-axis, so we move over 4 places, but we're going down 2 because of -2. So that positive then a negative puts us in quadrant 4. So we're going to look at a few